nerds. I'm TheSalawag. Welcome to TheSalawag's Why It's Great Gut Reaction, where I watch things and react from the gut. So, this is a first ever for my channel. I've never reacted to a trailer before. I don't think it's necessarily the wisest thing considering what my channel's about, but I gotta say, and of all things, ironically, Kraven the Hunter. I just saw the Kraven the Hunter trailer, and I'm pretty blown away by it. So it seems to be the popular thing to watch it alongside and get the reaction. So forgive if you can hear it, the noise of all my fans. Southern California is in this crazy heat wave. We're still close to 100. It's nuts. So I'm gonna do my best to keep this funky and fun, and hopefully you hear me over the fans. But I'm gonna watch this trailer and I'm gonna give my thoughts. I'm really impressed with this, just up front. But let's check it out together, okay? Here we go. I'm queuing up, starting it out, and here we go.
My son, we are hunters, the greatest the world has ever known.
Man. Let me just stop right here. He's being shot at right now. Wow. I mean, blood and guts, an actual R-rated movie. Thank you. Kraven the Hunter. Look, I have not supported Sony-Marvel with the exception of Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. I'm very against how they've treated the characters. I don't think they mean to treat the characters in a wrong way, but I've just not been for. Right from the trailers, I could tell that I wouldn't like the movie. But right up front, already from the teaser trailer, I got a sense that Kraven the Hunter was a little bit different. You know, a lot about my channel, I talk about film language. I read film language, so it's very easy for me to see if a trailer, it's not about the trailer editing. I see the footage and I think, is the footage speaking to me? Is it a quality angle? Is it telling me that the filmmaker knows what they're doing? I know that sounds kind of nonsense, but I mean, I've edited trailers, I've done all this stuff, I've studied film and worked in film for 17 years, so I can kind of read this stuff like a book. But this trailer, I gotta say, the teaser trailer was intriguing, and I wasn't sure where they were gonna go with it, but it's just right up front. We got this stabbing in the neck. Okay, all right, I'm gonna continue. Sorry, going on.
Who's next?
Aaron Taylor Johnson, man.
What do you like your father? A gangster? A killer?
And I heard a voice. And behold,
Pause again. Wow. Wow, the violence is good. Okay, sorry.
there's a man going round taking names. My son. And he decides who to free and who to blame. Yes, and animals stronger than you can imagine. Bears on your arm will stand up. Tell me about this hunter. Once you're on this list, there's only one way off. When the man comes around. When the man
Okay. This trailer's hot. Okay? I mean, damn. I love Aaron Taylor Johnson all the way back to Kick-Ass. That was when I first saw him. I saw him in Bullet Train. He was great in that. I believe the actor's name is Alessandro Giuliani. I could be wrong. The actor who plays the Rhino. Fantastic actor. I saw him in Face Off. I know I've seen him in a number of other pictures, but it's great to see him. The casting says a lot. Now, here's the thing. So I'm just going to be honest here, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way. Literally, my beef with Sony-Marvel, that collaboration, I've had this beef since Spider-Man 3. The first two Spider-Man films were so wonderful, and you know, if you watch special features, you watch the commentaries, you know that those movies were special because they really let the filmmaker tell the story. They may have had things they wanted, they may have things they needed to have in the movie, but they trusted Sam Raimi, and they really gave those first two movies all the heart and soul they possibly could. But you could tell with Spider-Man 3 right from the opening credits, which was the best opening credits of all three films. But when all of a sudden the writers went from having one name per the first two movies to all of a sudden there's 6 names, or maybe it's less than that, but so many writer names, it's like, this isn't right. And then the movie felt so disjointed. Although I still will watch chunks of it. I think, you know, Sam Raimi's greatness and talent, and the talent of that cast and the crew, I mean, it's just going to shine regardless of any problems that I have with the movie. But even then, I could tell something was seriously wrong. You could tell that all of a sudden comic book movies made too much money, and it just meant more of the wrong kind of influence, where you start to see in the hands of Sony, when they took it to Amazing Spider-Man. I did not appreciate that it was a reboot, but if they were going to reboot it, I didn't appreciate that it was Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, who had already come off the fame of playing both high school and college people, and now they're going back to high school. I'm like, Superbad was already 4 years ago. She should be graduating college by now, Emma Stone. You know, just stuff like that messed with me. And I understand actors have always been older playing high schoolers, but when you just are seeing these actors who you know were casted for their current fame, and you know, I'm not even interested in how much the director had to play in it. It's just the fact of that they just looked so much older. Like Tobey Maguire, yes, he was older when he was playing the first Spider-Man, but he graduated high school in the first Spider-Man. And with his weight loss in Spider-Man 2, he looked like a scrawny college kid who was struggling. I believed he could be there where he was in Spider-Man 2. But by Spider-Man 3, it's like, come on, this should not be taking place 5 minutes after Spider-Man 2. And then into the Amazing Spider-Mans. I did rewatch the first one, and I do appreciate that one a little bit more, but I just don't appreciate that basically it's not as faithful to the comics. The Tobey Maguires were faithful to the original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko run. That's why those movies are like that. That's why Tobey's Spider-Man is not quite as wisecracking. And then when it comes to Andrew Garfield, it just didn't work for me. I know a lot of people love those movies, and so I don't want to disrespect any of you. And if you like it, I'm not saying anything's wrong with you. It really wasn't for me. I felt like the quality, especially when you go and do Amazing Spider-Man 2, it becomes the identical issue of Spider-Man 3 of you're overstuffing the movie because you want to put all your eggs in one basket, but you still have to consider this needs to be a contained picture, and it needs to work on its own terms. You should not be overstuffing this movie, and the whole notion that there's also the idea of trilogies and all this stuff. I think these sort of old notions that don't actually work in pictures. I think once with Harry Potter being in like the 7th movie by the point of Amazing Spider-Man 2, we should be abandoning these kind of old notions that you have to make a trilogy, or all this nonsense that makes these movies overstuffed because studios and filmmakers think these movies have only the value of 3 movies. where the MCU has proven, like, you can have characters pop up in multiple movies, you can have characters have more than 3 movies, but what it all comes down to, the importance is the quality of that storytelling. That's what keeps the audience engaged. And when it came to Morbius and Venom in particular, I just thought, these are villains whose origins have a specific tie to Spider-Man. You do not get Venom without Spider-Man. The whole reason Venom is because he was attached to Spider-Man for years and had a relationship to Spider-Man where he could generate whatever Peter Parker desired, any suit. It could look out for him and protect him. I mean, that was a literal symbiotic relationship. And so for Peter to yank Venom off of him, it was akin to like a divorce and a relationship divorce, or a family member suddenly cutting ties with another family member. Because Venom, the symbiote, looked out for Spider-Man. The problem was it ultimately started looking out for himself more than his interests and his shared interest with Spider-Man, and that's really why he had to be removed. Venom, the thing that would become Venom, ultimately wanted its own things, and he had to yank that thing off because it was transforming him beyond, outside of the realm of his own character, of what his own desires. You do not have a successful Venom story without properly telling the symbiote Spider-Man story. That was my biggest problem with Spider-Man 3. It's like, he should have had the dark suit right from the top. And I thought it was a real disappointment that you set up the astronaut in Spider-Man 2. And having grown up with the 90s cartoon, I saw that J. Jonah Jameson's son comes crashing down with the spaceship. Spider-Man saves him, and that's how he gets the symbiote. I realize it's not how it happened in the comic, but it was such an organic way for him to get it within the cartoon, and I thought the movie would do the same thing, and instead it was just a meteorite out of nowhere. I'm just like, oh no, 2007, the year of meteorites causing all of our problems again, with Transformers coming down as meteorites, and yet they can't fly for some reason after that. No, it doesn't make any sense. But seriously, so Venom to me did not work because his origin is tied to Spider-Man. He's a villain because he's angry at Spider-Man. It's a personal vendetta for him. And Eddie Brock has beef with Peter Parker and Spider-Man because, although the truth be told, Eddie Brock is just a very shady person and did the wrong choices. His real problem is that he could not take responsibility. But Venom too. The Venom symbiote could not take responsibility for its own behavior and influence, being the reason why Spider-Man wanted nothing to do with him. But that, nonetheless, that rejection is what creates that. So when you don't have any of the Spider-Man backstory as in Venom for the Venom film, it just doesn't hold water. I have not finished the first Venom. I was taken to see Venom 2 by a family. They paid for the tickets, so I was like, fine, I'll see it. And actually, I enjoyed it. I thought Carnage nailed Carnage, and I am looking forward to Venom 3. But then again, Morbius gets his powers from Spider-Man's blood. He combines Spider-Man's blood with the blood of a bat, and that's what turns him into Morbius. So you cut that out, and then you come up with this weird Batman Begins style. You know what I mean? And I think that's such the problem with Sony-Marvel, is the over-influence of the Dark Knight trilogy, which, look, DC is not Marvel. They have very different voices. There's a reason DC works when it goes dark, and Marvel doesn't. You know, Marvel can go dark. You see Blade, fantastic series, but even Blade, it has a slightly different sense of humor. Marvel, when it's dark, has a different sense of humor than DC when it's dark. You know, Punisher, you know what I mean? Very different sense of humor. Yeah, it's just, they're different universes that have different voices. And, you know, I have not watched Madam Web yet. But all of these movies, I feel like I'm missing some. But with everything Sony-Marvel has done with its live-action pictures, I just felt like I was not connecting with it. I didn't feel like it was really having its own voice and I didn't feel that they were treating the characters with the proper respect, or even audiences. I think you're not really making a film that could connect to general audiences, but the reason you're not connecting is you're not being faithful to the material. And I just felt so like I just could not personally lend a buck to support any Sony-Marvel, with the exception of Into the Spider-Verse, which I thought, okay, that's exceptional storytelling. You know, the Phil and Lord Miller, I hope I got that right, the very directors of 21 and 22 Jump Street. I would have loved to see whatever it was they were doing with Han Solo, although I did like what Ron Howard ended up putting together. I mean, these guys are just such talents. I mean, I gotta know what the heck they did. But you know, Into the Spider-Verse, really exceptional storytelling. Doesn't destroy the character or try to recreate the character in some kind of bizarre way. I related to Miles Morales as a kid that I would have grown up with at the time, growing up in the 2000s, when I grew up in, you know, San Francisco urban environment. You know, my classmates are into rap and into graffiti art and all that stuff. I mean, I'm the weirdo who got into movies and stuff, but you know, Miles Morales is like a classmate to me that I would have gone to school with, and so I could relate to it both as a fan of Spider-Man and as just a human being growing up in an urban environment where that kind of hero and the presentation of the Prowler, I was like, I 100% understood, you know, how Spider-Man is plausible and how the real world blends very well into a comic book world. When you see how well they can scale fences and stuff, it's like something totally normal in an urban city where you're seeing kids, they're not gangsters, but they're climbing the fence because they want to go eat somewhere else for lunch instead of the terrible public school food. You know what I mean? It's you know, it's just something you see, and it's just, I mean, I couldn't do it. I was you know, a little sheltered me. But you know, this is my problem with so much of Sony-Marvel, and even Madam Web, which I've heard not flattering things about. But even in its presentation, I just felt like Madam Web I probably know the least about, with the exception of the cartoon. But here's a character where I just felt like this is not what I want to see from something called Madam Web, and I will eventually watch it, but I'm just holding off until I really, you know. And I love Dakota Johnson. I love Sydney Sweeney. I'm pretty sure I am familiar with those other actresses as well from other movies. You know, the talent being the talent is not the issue. It's, I want to see storytelling that is respecting the fans of the comic books and the cartoons and all of that. It's got to be something recognizable to people who are the reason these movies sell at the box office. I mean, yes, we got the normies in. Normies enjoy this too. But the only real reason that superhero movies took off was because Blade, X-Men, and Spider-Man were as faithful as the comics as they possibly could be, while at the same time being strong films, and mixing and matching as well as they could stories from the comics that could be accessible to people. Even though X-Men was probably the least accurate, its message was clear, and Wolverine was perfect. You know, it's just, you know, you got a little trade here and there for accuracy versus spirit of character. You know, Wolverine was perfect, Professor X was perfect, Magneto was perfect. If the other characters were inaccurate, that's not great, but they were still played by fantastic actors: Famke Johnson, Halle Berry, James Marsden. You know, just fantastic cast doing their absolute best to make what they could be as real and authentic as they possibly could. So when you get to these movies that feel very produced, you know, the audience, you know, the audience is not dumb, you know what I mean? Everyone has their limitations and things they don't know, but the audience is aware of the difference between tofu and chicken, you know, and maybe we're not, based on what I've been learning about food. But you know what I mean? It's like, we know if that don't taste like chicken, that don't taste like a real cheeseburger, that tastes like a plant burger. The Impossible Burger does not taste like a cheeseburger. I'm sorry. It really tastes like some burnt cabbage, and you're trying to tell me that that's barbecue sauce, and I don't know what you put on that thing. You know what I mean? And that's been my problem. I'm sorry, Sony-Marvel, but that's been my problem with their live action pictures. And as much as I enjoyed Venom 2, I'm not jumping to watch it again. I'm not going to promote it because it just doesn't feel right to me. But that's a long way of coming around to Kraven the Hunter. This trailer, like I said, much of my podcast, if you watch it, it's going to be boring for a lot of people. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. But for those who are young filmmakers who kind of want to understand movies a little bit better, and for audience members who will put up with it, I talk about film language. I talk about how the filmmakers use color and storytelling, how storytelling through performance, how all the important things that filmmakers are doing that you're not aware of as an audience member, but it's happening as a subtext. It's happening underneath the action. It's happening underneath the visual. The visual underneath the visual is what I'm trying to get into. That's, to me, the secret sauce that makes all of this accessible. And I'm hoping I'm not getting ahead of myself, but looking at this trailer, it's pretty fantastic. I mean, let's just do a little quick play-by-play, okay? I know you've all sat through, oh my god, this guy hates Sony-Marvel. Get over it. I love it, you stupido. You big head. You salt and pepper. You salt and pepper pudgy boy. You hurt my feelings. Okay, but so this trailer, I gotta say, all that in mind, damn. See, all that what I say is because this trailer, Kraven the Hunter is the perfect character. If you're gonna do a villain origin, it's got to be with a villain whose origin has nothing to do with the main character of the comic books. You know, Kraven the Hunter always started before Spider-Man. Spider-Man was always his sort of just one of many hunts that he wanted to do, and you know, his story starts long before Spider-Man and continues after Spider-Man. I think that's one of the things that I feel right from the teaser trailer, which was intriguing. I wasn't entirely sold, but looking at this trailer, I'm like, okay, like, you're getting what we expect from Kraven. And I've been playing the Spider-Man 2 game on PlayStation 5. Wonderful gameplay. I wasn't going to do it, but I love Kind of Funny and Andy Richter. God damn it. Why am I screwing up your name, man? But, you know, Andy, god damn it. The nitro rifle. Tootin', shootin', hullabalootin', I don't know. Andy Cortez from Kind of Funny, he posted this clip of his gameplay where I saw the mechanics of the web swing was way improved. I mean, I played a little bit of the first Spider-Man, but I wasn't into it because I felt like we're really just getting a mild update on Spider-Man 3 from 2007. Nothing much there for me. But the smoothness of this web swing, and then all of a sudden he jumps and has web wings and he's flying. I'm like, what? And it was so smooth and amazing. It really was like the kind of shot that I would need to see to go, oh, I need to experience this. Like Uncharted, like, wow, that amazing experience of using the grappling gun and the parachute to zip around. But now applied to Spider-Man, I thought, wow. But the whole Kraven the Hunter storyline was amazing, and how they blended that with Venom was amazing. And so to see that level of violence here, but not only that, but it's an R-rated, like, again, you're doing an origin for a guy who's a hunter. So I appreciate that you're going to go that extra length. You don't have to. This could have been PG-13. I would still be down. But, you know, he's a hunter. He's a killer. This is what he wants to do to Spider-Man. You know what I mean? And the fact that we get a Rhino who looks like the Rhino, And although Rhino was always, I believe, a suit, again, anyone who says Amazing Spider-Man is accurate to the comic book, but for some reason the Rhino has a Transformers mech tech suit, I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to sell me on here, okay? You can't hold up a block of cheese and tell me it's a bar of soap, okay? Or vice versa. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Doesn't matter how you sell it to me. I can tell that that's a block of cheese or a bar of soap. First of all, I can smell it. You know, I mean, come on. No fragrance at all. I just smell cheddar. Okay? You know where that goes. This trailer, it's perfectly aping off of the Spider-Man 2 experience for me, which reminded me of Kraven the Hunter from the cartoon. That's what I really know with the Kraven the Hunter from the cartoon. And his accurate costume. I'm like, thank you. I mean, it only took 3 Deadpool movies and most of the MCU to get an accurate costume out of Sony-Marvel. Because, again, I could not... I watched Morbius, I did watch it, and I did like it more than Venom, but that's not saying much. I mean, I finished it, so that's good. But, you know, not a great entry for me to watch Matt Smith. I mean, yeah, but watching this trailer, damn, I couldn't believe this. I cannot believe this. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little play-by-play with the sound. Or actually, should I do headphones? I'll do some headphone action, okay? We're going to do a little play-by-play, go through this moment by moment. Right up front, okay, we got this intriguing wide shot looking down. Now we're in a prison, okay. And, man, Aaron Taylor Johnson, off the bat, doesn't immediately look like Kraven the Hunter to me, but his performance is there, his energy is there, his voice is there. It seems even improved from the teaser trailer. I don't know if they did some reshoots to really amp this up, but, you know, again, looking at the film language, the shot choices are very good. It's very cinematic looking. It doesn't look overly produced. It's interesting that this trailer actually has very little of Maximus, of Jor-El in it. But I love that the trailer doesn't overuse his full costume. I do hope we get a good amount of full costume in the movie, but the trailer doesn't overuse it and really suggests the origin nature of it. And oh man, to see this dude as Rhino, I did not see that coming. And I'm all for this genetic Rhino. At least he looks accurate. I'm down for it. If true comic book fans, look, I'm just a nerd who love the cartoons, so if you don't find my opinions valid, that's totally fair. True believers, but true comic book fans, please let me know, is there a version of Rhino that's genetic? I'm very curious about that. And again, Rhino, another character whose origin not tied to Spider-Man, so you can play with that, and I am not going to have any disagreement with it. But if I know the origin is tied to Spider-Man, get out of here. I don't want to watch your movie. Get out of here. This is nonsense. Getting into this family drama, this beautiful woman, who is she going to be? What's that deal? I really know very little about the Kraven the Hunter character, so this is going to be a fun exploration for me. Very curious about how is the Rhino character, is it going to be sort of a Hulk out type of situation? I'm totally fine with that. I don't need it to be all the time. Obviously, that'll exhaust your budget like crazy. I love this final shot with him holding up the flame in his full costume. They use that costume very sparsely in this trailer, which keeps me excited for it. But just look at this shot with the Rhino coming out and punching through that. I mean, that's legit Rhino right there. That is legit, authentic. Even the way his body looks, it looks like the Rhino should look. And that's all we're asking for here. You know what I mean? Again, like, to have to sit through 3 Venom movies where there's no Venom logo, I'm like, come on, man. Literally, you make it exactly 80% accurate. Like, what a tease, you know? I mean, it is better than the Spider-Man 3 Venom, but again, that's not saying much for a character who only had 5 minutes of screen time. You know what I mean? It's just that's hardly a fair comparison. At least he had the symbol, and at least he had the correct origin. You know, Sam Raimi, I believe, was not a big fan of the character, so it's like you're forcing a storyteller who doesn't like that story to tell that story. Where I think if you just kept it to the black suit, Spider-Man 3 would have been a successful movie, and many of the choices would have made a lot more sense. But so having gone through so many years, from 2007 to now 2024, I'm super excited for this movie. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. If you've listened this far, I'm sorry for the pissing rant. Wyatt's Great Gut Reaction. I call it this because I'm supposed to be championing things that I feel are worth talking about. I think there's enough podcasts where people are complaining about everything on screen for either a political reason or a personal reason. I just think there's enough of that negativity. I'm really exhausted from it. I was a troll myself, and I got out-trolled. I got out-trolled by podcasts, and I was like, oh, God. My origin story is like, oh, I can't hear any more negativity. It's literally making me sick. I need to make a podcast that celebrates something, just the stuff I like. And I love this trailer. Hopefully the movie lives up to what the trailer is promising. It seems like it. Again, looking at the film language, like the camera, where it's going, I always feel like I know where I am. I feel like the visuals are very strong. The accuracy of the costumes, the accuracy of the Rhino is what really gets me excited. I've been wanting to see a proper Rhino since that terrible mech tech suit from Amazing Spider-Man 2. I've been like, oh my God, I would even suffer through that just to see the Rhino, because he's such a great character, especially in the Spider-Man cartoon where he's such a dummy. He's such a dummy, and Black Suit Spider-Man just knocks him around like nothing. But I'm so excited for this. So let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited for this trailer? Do you have some of the same feelings about Sony-Marvel? And damn, who's excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse, dude? I'm waiting for that. Kraven can be bad. If it's bad, I'm not going to be surprised because all the rest was bad. But I am excited for Kraven. It really looks like they care about this one. That's what really matters. If you don't care, it translates to the audience. They know you don't care, and that you just want to take advantage of the property to do some kind of other thing, or just to get money, or just to keep the legal rights. And the audience knows it's really demeaning to the audience. That's why these movies struggle. So I appreciate that Kraven seems to be in earnest effort. We'll see what it looks like in theaters. If I really like it, I'll be doing a review, because this is why it's great. This is not why it sucks. There's tons of that. You can get that up the bootay. Okay, you can get that out of so much that where the sun don't shine is overflowing. There's plenty of that on YouTube. But if I like it, if I see it in theaters and I like it, I'll be talking about it here. I'm looking forward to it. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's fantastic. And Alessandro Giuliani, dude, I'll never forget this dude from Face Off. He's amazing. So looking forward to it. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you want. I really hate saying that. I don't think I'm gonna say that again. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Okay? I'm not an advertisement. If you like me, I hope you subscribe. If you like me, I hope you like me. But if not, it's fine. I understand. That's what I like about Red Letter Media. They never ask me to like and subscribe. That's why I liked and subscribe. They're entertaining, and they don't even bother asking. So, that being said, aloha, and peace, and aloha, and peace, and Kraven the Hunter on his hunt. Sorry, that was bad. Bad me, I'm going away.